everybody, and welcome. It's EdTech Chat. EdTech. I can't even say it. Chat and Chew, number 58. We're excited to bring you another show this week, and we have a new friend on the show today. Did you notice? Should we say hi to him?
Hey, Mr. Dearybury.
Hey. Oh, you were talking about me. I didn't know if you were talking about me or not. I was like, is she talking about me?
Okay, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you live, and what you do.
Okay, my name is Jed Dearybury. Dairy like a cow and berry like a fruit. I've been called a fruity cow before, so it's okay if you choose to call me that. I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is in the upstate. We are almost in the middle between Charlotte and Atlanta, if you were driving down the interstate. After 13 years in the early childhood classroom, this year I am the Director of Professional Development and Communications for our State Teachers Association, the Palmetto State Teachers Association. And what I do there is I get to go to schools every day and work with teachers in their classrooms and faculties and staffs across the state. Tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm going to speak to pre-service teachers at Lander University. I'm really excited about that. Nobody knows this, but I'm taking a student from my very first year teaching who is now a freshman in college, and he's going to be part of my presentation tonight, and I'm so excited. And it just happened to work out. He's not even supposed to be going with me. That was not part of my plan, but somebody had it in the plan, so I'm really excited about that. He's going to go with me tonight, and the message is what I'm talking about to them is how they need to get connected. Not just connect with the parents, connect with the staff they're on, connect with their school, connect with their community, connect with their students. And it's going to be so perfect that I've got a student who I've been connected with for 13 years. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Absolutely incredible. And, you know, I was working with a former student last night who's looking to she's an educator now and is now looking to go another level into her life. But it's really cool to kind of connect with them all those years. So what a special day for you and your student.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited. He and I actually, since he graduated, we've gone to dinner every month since he graduated from high school back in June. And, you know, it's just we keep that relationship going. I've probably helped him as much now as I ever did because we're going through college process and, you know, helping him figure out the financial aid and all that. He actually went into the military right out of school, and he got hurt in training, and so he had to have an honorable discharge, and so he's home and got back into school. So the last couple of months have been helping him get back into the school mode, if you will. So I'm excited to have him go with me tonight. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, maybe you'll inspire the next educator.
Who knows? I'm trying to talk him into it. I don't know if he wants to do. I don't think this is a route for him, but who knows? We'll see.
Very cool. Okay, and then so we have Jed joining us from South Carolina. Where are we from, Micah?
We are in Andover, Kansas.
And then Mike, where are you from?
Northeastern Pennsylvania. Hi, everyone.
And Karen?
For West Texas, El Paso.
So we have a pretty good group here. I'm just going to say that out loud, right? And today we're going to be talking about creativity in the classroom, which is right up Jed's alley. So we're really excited to have him join us. Before we do that, Mike, do we have any announcements that we need to make?
Nothing real big since we put out a show yesterday. You know, not a whole lot's changed except our numbers from Virtual Valentine keep going through the roof. So, you know, we are pushing the 300 classroom mark. I haven't checked recently today, but we could be right up there. You have a number, Diane? Do you know how many we're at?
Just since we started our call, we're at 289.
289, yeah. So we're pushing 300 classrooms for Virtual Valentines. And, you know, I think yesterday we were down at like 250 or something. So you have till Friday to sign up if you're still interested. It's virtualvalentines, plural, .weebly, WEEBLY.com. And basically what you'd have to commit to is having your class create a virtual Valentine using a online tool for another class somewhere around the world that we'll connect you with. A great opportunity to get your feet wet with global learning. Or if you're a global learning expert, it's just another great opportunity to connect with someone in a different area.
And Jed, we have Miss Blackwelder from Spartanburg who just registered 6 classes.
Yes, I'm so excited. Yesterday I sent out a blast on the Lily Sarah Grace Twitter, the Palmetto State Teachers Association Twitter, and my own personal Twitter. And so many of my South Carolina friends were emailing me and texting me, were like, hey, what's going on? So hopefully you've seen a little uptick from my part of the world. I'm sorry this took me so long to get that, but we had some snow, and it just sends us Southerners into a tizzy. We have to stop life as we know it and go enjoy the snow. So I didn't tweet as much over the last couple of days.
Well, here's the truth. People have until Friday, so you've got plenty of time.
Yep.
I'll tweet it out every day between now and Friday. Hey, I do have a question, though.
Yes.
If somebody like me who I don't have a class this year but would like to be involved in the process, is there a role for me? Is there something that I could do? Or do I have to have students?
Well, I'll jump on that. We've had it's a K through 12 project. So what we're really looking for is classrooms K through 12. But I know that we had one teacher in South America, I believe she's in Argentina, who wanted to sign up but didn't have a class until after Valentine's Day. I guess they're on break during this time, or maybe it was somewhere else. And what I said to her is go ahead and sign up and be a connection for a school, because in her case, we have a lot of schools that are maybe like high school Spanish classes that are looking to connect with native Spanish speakers. Okay. So that's a real easy connection for us. Okay. In your case, you can certainly go through and do the registration process and say, hey, I'm a teacher. If you have one extra classroom that's looking to connect, or if you look for someone that's willing to connect with a group of, I know you have pre-service teachers sometime. Right. Maybe that wants to work with some pre-service teachers. I can connect that group.
I've got my college class. I didn't think about this. We start February the 4th, so I could sign them up.
Yeah, that's perfect. We had a group of pre-service teachers at the University of Scranton that signed up because they're in their ed tech class. They want to get some experience using some of those tools that they can use with students when they get into the profession. So yeah, that would be a perfect way for you to connect your pre-service.
I'll do that as soon as we end this call. Awesome.
Cool.
Yes, that's a perfect fit.
It is perfect.
Yep.
Karen, do you just love it when everything just comes together?
I'm just listening to all of this, and I'm amazed. If I were a pre-service teacher and I had an experience like that, it would make such an impact.
Most definitely. And Jed, have you officially met Karen?
I have. We actually met at ISTE this past summer, and I stalked her on Facebook. And speaking of snow, I enjoyed the El Paso snow that she had earlier this year. That was wonderful. And I stalked her page pretty regularly on Facebook, so we're connected there as well.
You may be confusing me with Kimberly though, because I didn't make it to ISTE. Kimberly's my sister. We look alike, yeah.
No.
Yeah. I didn't make it to ISTE. I know.
She's your sister?
She did, yeah. Yeah. So there's two of us.
Well, my apologies. I thought we were the same person. So now I've embarrassed myself on this.
It happens to both of us all the time. Both of us, though. Yeah.
When we logged on, I was like, oh, that's her. Yeah, it's so great.
I mean, and awesome. In Jed's defense, both Kim and Karen are both pretty spectacular in their own right. So.
Well, I mean, I just assumed that this was the same person because it was the same circle. So now there's two awesome Edu sisters. Hey, yeah. There's your Edu sister. There's your blog and your website right there, Edu Sisters. There you go.
I'm gonna steal that. All right.
I love it. Okay, so Mike, we're talking about creativity in the classroom, and it's been such a big push in ed tech this past year. I would say the past several years, but with maker spaces making more and more treks forward, and you're seeing more personalized learning happening with students. What are some things that you're thinking our audience might need to know about creativity?
Yeah, well, the first place that I would start is, before we even get into maker spaces and all of the great creativity that's going on, and the new.
Oh, he's frozen.
See, no, it's us. This happened yesterday.
I think it's Mike.
It's Mike. Okay. Yeah. So, Jed, what do you love about being creative in the classroom?
It's Googleable. Oh, there's Mike. Companies don't need people that know stuff anymore because you can find stuff pretty easily. They need people that can do something with the knowledge that they have. And so we need to reflect that in our classrooms. But all of that has to start with a culture in a classroom that's led by a teacher. If a teacher is not being creative in their lesson planning, is not being creative in the way that they deliver information to students, in the way that they empower students to be able to work on their own and take initiative over their own learning, to follow their passions, then students aren't going to be able to be creative, in that atmosphere. If the teacher is, teaching out of a textbook, the students are going to, have the same lousy textbook experiences that they've always had. And so it really needs to start with a mindset change for the person who's leading the culture of that classroom.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed. And that's what, Jed, you have a whole passion for creativity in the classroom. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've done with students.
Well, the key to teaching creativity with your students, and somebody's at my door, and my dog is going crazy. Can we pause for just 1 second?
Sure. Karen, why don't you jump in since Jed's off at the answering his door?
Sorry about that. It was the exterminator just leaving the bill on the door. So anyway, in my classroom, it's so important what you just said, Mike, about creativity in the classroom, is the teacher has to foster that environment. If you walk into a classroom where the walls are bare, the colors are monotone, the environment is not a happy place, most likely there's not a lot of creativity fostered there. Now, I'm not saying that the walls have to be covered up in a bunch of, handmade, poster, whatever, bought stuff, but the environment of the classroom invites the creativity. And the second thing that the teacher has to be aware of with creativity is that not all kids have it innately, but it can be developed. Just like, I'll tell you, I was not born a piano player. I'm not a prodigy. But over time, as I practiced, I got better at it. Over time, I've practiced running, and I've gotten better at it. I didn't run until I was 32 years old, but I've gotten better and done 7 marathons since then. And creativity is a skill that's very much like that. Given the opportunity for students to do a better job with their creativity, they can develop it a lot more.
Well said. Well said. And Karen, in your world, you're working with so many little guys this year. What are some things that you're seeing in an environment where so many children just come with imagination to start with?
Oh, it's just giving them that opportunity to run with it. Right now in our district, we have 8 iPads in almost every kinder and first grade classroom. And a lot of what we've been doing is, our teachers, just initially, without any kind of training or someone being excited about utilizing these devices, is they're thinking this is just a tool that my kids are going to consume on. And so it's changing a lot of our professional development and giving our teachers that opportunity to be creative. So we're looking at, well, these are some of the things that we're teaching. What can we make? And what can we, even incorporating hands-on things and utilizing the camera and the video camera, and then just stopping and listening to their creativity. And then those teachers are actually going back and they're allowing their students to create with the iPad, and they're coming up with some amazing things that I've never even thought about. It's awesome. And so with the little biddies, it's just, listen to them and just let them talk and explore and create and draw and make their videos. It's amazing. So, but mostly my job is just trying to help our teachers get out of that. This is exactly the way it has to happen, and giving them a little time to be creative and talk with each other and come up with ideas.
Love that.
I love how the Jed's comments and Karen's comments kind of go together. What Jed was talking about was having a growth mindset. That's the term that's been going around lately, where people don't see their abilities as innate, but rather see them as something that can be developed. And creativity, I think we all believe, is one of in that category. It's something that can be developed over time. But with the itty bitties, Karen's term, when she's working with them, they don't need to be sold on that idea. They believe that they can be more creative the more they work on it. For them it's innate, and somewhere it gets yanked away from them as school goes on. And really, our job as teachers is just if we've got older kids, to tap back into that and make them feel the way they did when they were in preschool and kindergarten, where finger painting wasn't like oh, what if it's not good, or what if I don't do a good job painting? It was just like, ooh, let me get my hands in that paint. We need to get them back into that kind of mindset, whether it's with finger paint or cardboard or maker spaces or building computers or whatever it happens to be. Just for them to be able to take risks without worrying about whether it's right or not, or whether they're going to do a good job. Just have fun with it and do something cool.
What's great is when the little ones start creating things, like they want to invent things to solve problems, and so you let them kind of go at it. And when their statement is, "Oh, can we send my video to the scientists?" Mm-hmm. It's just like, I need to find a scientist to share this with, because they're so proud of their work. And
they believe that their video is going to make a difference in whoever sees it. That's so important. Let me tell you guys about a really neat thing that I'm doing tomorrow. I partnered with a kindergarten class for the 100th day of school. And for the last few days, I've been collecting some items from my recycle bin. Let me show you. I got this big bag here full of stuff. I got a milk jug. I got an old tea canister. I got a cereal box. I got a breadcrumb canister. I mean, I've got all kind of stuff. I've got 100 pieces of trash, okay? 100 pieces of recyclable. And I've got this book. We have a plan. And we're going to come up with a plan for the trash to reuse it, repurpose it, maybe create something out of it, a toy, something that they will use in their everyday life, something that could be marketed and sold. We're going to let them dream big, but for the 100th day, I said, you know, I did this lesson with your faculty and staff a couple of weeks ago with just a little bit of trash, just to encourage, show them how easy it was to invite creativity in the classroom. And afterwards, I started talking with the kindergarten teacher, and she told me the 100th day was coming up. And I said, hey, let's do this with 100 pieces of trash. Of course, it's clean trash, you know. It's stuff that I made sure was washed out. Over by my sink, I've got a jelly jar, an empty ketchup bottle, a sour cream container that I got to wash out before tomorrow. But I'm so excited to see what the kids will create. Another thing really quick I want to tell you about is this book I use a lot too. It's called Not a Box. Have y'all heard of this book?
No.
Oh my gosh, you need to add it to your list of things to do in the classroom. It's called Not a Box. And the first page it just says, why are you sitting in that box? And it's this little rabbit, he's sitting in a box. And the next page he says, it's not a box. And so every time you turn the page, the box becomes something else. Well, guess what? I got this big old box. And I take it around with me, and I read this book. And this was actually a lesson that was born on the spot in a special ed classroom down along the coast of South Carolina. A special ed teacher that I was working with, she said, you know, I hear what you're saying about creativity and you know, igniting that, and I just need to know how to do that better with my special ed kids. I don't know how to do it. And I said, well, just look at this book right here. I just pulled it out, and then I sent word to the custodians to bring me some boxes. And within a matter of 10 minutes, we read this book, and there were hot air balloons floating around that room, and there were race cars, and there were pirate ships, and there were you know, kids riding on the backs of elephants, all with a box. And that's how you teach creativity. You let those moments happen.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And sometimes I think it can be hard for teachers to wrap their minds around that. Mike, you had mentioned growth mindset and things like that. And Jed, you talked about the culture that we create in our classrooms for students. Sometimes I don't think we give kids the opportunity to fail enough. And what a better place than our safe classrooms for kids to be able to explore and create and fail within that safety net of our own culture in our classrooms.
So talk about Breakout EDU.
Okay, who's heard of the Breakout EDU phenomenon?
I'm becoming a big fan quickly.
Oh, Jed and Karen, you need to grab on this.
I've never heard of it.
Okay, you're going to be addicted soon, just so you know. So have you heard of escape rooms?
Yes.
Okay, Karen, have you? Okay, so two teachers, they visited an escape room together, and basically an escape room, you know, you're locked inside of the room and you are trying to figure out clues to get yourself out. Well, these two teachers were like, we've got to make this happen in our classrooms, but we probably shouldn't lock kids in a classroom, yes? So they created a box, and inside, you know, a treat or whatever, and around the room there are clues that kids have to break out of to get to the final piece. We just ran a weather one this morning in 2nd grade. And so we had the wacky weather wizard, and he has created a machine that will send blizzards and tornadoes and snow, although, Jed, I think you would like that, to ruin the world. And we need your help to disable the machine and turn it into bubbles. And so they were all around the room, and they were solving clues and opening boxes, and they finally got to the end. And I think the hardest part for me when I first ran one of these games was to let them. Okay, just let them. I had to step back and let them fail and let them think critically without me stepping in naturally. Because we're all teachers. We want to help naturally. That's what we were born to do. We want to be helpers. But we're not helping kids when we don't let them be creative, when we don't let them fail in a safe environment. And so Breakout EDUs really helped me step out of that role. I've always been working on becoming more of a facilitator, but this just kind of took it to the next level. Mm-hmm. It's cool stuff.
And for me, on the secondary level, the way that I do a lot of the creativity is I challenge the students with, similar to the box, you know, sort of a thing, where if I tell them we're getting ready to do something with textiles, this is your material, but you have to pitch to me the idea that you want to create and show me that you've learned and mastered this concept, and it could be really out there. For example, like our middle school PE teacher, she is just a rock star, I will tell you off the top of my head, but she was having students try to understand the benefits of personal hygiene. And she says, I've just done the PowerPoint over and over and over and over again. I said, well, are you kind of done with that? Yes. I said, well, let's throw different challenges out to them. Let's let them choose art, like paintings or sculpture. Let's see if we can come up with, if you want to do a video, perhaps you would like to create an essay, a poem, whatever it may be. Give your students a choice of products they want to do and pitch it. What one of her students ended up doing was a focus around why we have to wash our hands. And that student created a sculpture with hands like this, and then wrote on the sculpture the reasons why you need to take care of yourself and prevent further passing on of germs or whatever that may be. But this piece was so stinking beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Would have never have had something like that if she would have stuck in the box.
Diane, you said something. You said an important word there. You said give students choice. Yep. That is something that's so hard for us as educators to let go of, because we've got our little unit plan and we've got our final outcome already designed. You know, it's either going to be a test, it's going to be a diorama, it's going to be an iMovie. I mean, for the techie, we don't want to give students choice. I did a butterfly unit last school year, and I wanted to give a test at the end, but then I said, I need you students just to create something that shows me what you've learned. I said, you know what I've taught. And I said, I need to have at least like 10 things from our unit displayed in your finished piece. Some of them did a painting, some of them did sculptures, some of them just wrote it out in a story form, which was fine. Some of them asked me, do you have a test we can take? I didn't want to force anybody to do anything they were uncomfortable doing, but the results that I got from that were tremendous, and everybody was so in their zone. And then, like the kid who wanted to take the test, when he was finished, guess what he did? He read books about butterflies till everybody was done with their artwork. So it just worked out, and everybody had their own choice for the outcome of the learning. I think that's very powerful.
Absolutely. That's where it comes in, is the power of that voice and choice.
Mm.
Even you're seeing that on the little kid world, aren't you, Karen?
Definitely. I've been encouraging teachers. I work with teachers more than I do kids. Sometimes I get to do some modeled lessons, but always asking them, telling them we have lots of tools here. Give them that opportunity to choose what they would like to create with. I'm not sure if I'm frozen here. Am I?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. And then too, when I do work with classes, I'm often telling the kids, if this is something that you've really enjoyed working with or something that you've really enjoyed doing, if you're learning something different and you want to show show that in the product, ask your teacher, can I go ahead and utilize this tool to share my learning? And I encourage kids often to do that. What's your teacher going to say? Hopefully they won't say no. Hopefully they'll be excited about it. And if they do say no, I tell them try to make it at home and email them a copy of your work so that they can see, what you are doing and how you are learning even outside of the classroom. Something that while we're talking about the boxes, I can't wait to buy that book and read it to my kids tonight, because the other day I threw away a box. And my daughter looked at me with horror and she said, Mom, why'd you throw that box away? I can use it. And it's such a proud moment. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great, and starting to take the trash so that she can make things.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see in the back of my classroom there's a big pile of junk. That's boxes and water bottles and other kind of recycled materials that I just kind of store back there until we find uses for them. We did the Recycled Cell Museum earlier this year where the kids made the organelles out of recycled materials. But starting today after school, we actually have a STEM Maker Club where it's basically just going to be, okay, if you want to make something out of cardboard, out of plastic, whatever, go for it. My only rule is you've got to come up with a plan first. Design a plan for me. So I don't care if it's something that's been done already. Let's talk about how we're going to scale it. Yeah.
2 items that I cannot throw away to save my life is an egg carton and the little container, the little blue container that mushrooms come in.
Okay.
I cannot throw those away. I don't know why. I've got a ton of them. I've got a stack of mushroom containers this high. I mean, it's just, I can't throw them away. They're going to be something awesome one day to somebody.
Well, and the eggs are perfect for painting.
There's so many things you can do with an egg carton. You can teach place value with an egg carton. I mean, it can be a caterpillar, of course. That's the obvious thing. But there's so many, like there's little games you can do. I love an egg carton. Every teacher needs about 20 of them.
You know, one thing that we haven't mentioned that I think, you know, is probably obvious to us, but it bears mentioning, is the importance of bringing the arts into the curriculum in different ways, because especially at the younger ages, that's where you can give choice more easily. You know, if you're teaching phonics and how to read, you know, there's got to be a lot of direct instruction there so that kids, you know, are able to break down those sounds or whatever, you know, and maybe you can give choice in the material that kids read or whatever, but it's really the arts and giving kids the ability to create art, music, dance, whatever. That's where they're able to tap into the creativity that goes along with the content you're trying to teach them, to be able to use the reading that they have to do something, you know, with it. And you know, at older ages, arts seem to be something that's separate from the academic areas, but it really needs to be something that's integrated. You know, for us I use this line a lot, you know, when I'm out speaking. But you know, we know from neuroscience that in order for kids to learn, they have to have an emotional connection with what they're learning. You know, and the arts are the way that people connect emotionally with the things around them. And so it's insane not to have them incorporated into the things that we're trying to teach kids.
If I can throw in one more thing, I know I've thrown out a lot of books, but I use these books in my PDs with my teachers. Back when it was International Dot Day, I know y'all were all obsessed with it like I was. I came up with this lesson to go with the dot. So you know, at the end, the girl, I mean, she has a dot, and then she causes the guy to make a squiggle, okay? And then she kind of passes the art along. But I take this spin and I teach creativity and collaboration with this. I get every teacher a blank piece of paper and encourage them to draw their own dot. And then they pass it to someone in the room, and I ask the next person to add something to the dot. And then we pass it again, and I say, add something to the picture. And then we pass it again, and I say, add something to the picture. We do that like 10, 15 times, depending on the number of people. And then at the end, you have this beautiful piece of collaborative art. Now, they're not always beautiful, okay? Some of them are a hot mess. But like this one right here, this is one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see it, but that all started with a little green dot. And look how cute that is. I love it. And this one here, this started with the little orange dot down here. A little doll. And this one, you're going to love this one. This one started as a little yellow dot here, but it turned into a comic strip. As it started going around the room, kids started not only adding a picture, but they started adding words to what was going on. So and this is so good. Like this one, I love this one. They said that was me dressed as a Santa. And then this caterpillar. I mean, and it's so cool how these pieces of artwork develop. And I've got like, look at all these. I mean, I've got tons of them. I've done this thing all over. It's such a cool activity. And you know what? Don't give them any instruction. You just say, add something to the picture. And instinctively they say, well, what do you mean? And it's so hard for them to wrap their mind that there are no parameters, there are no rules. You just want them to be creative. And it invites that with this book. It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Karen, or Diane. All right, so about 10 years ago, I think it was 10 years ago, they run the TIMSS study every year in different countries where it compares educational systems to each other. And one of the things they found about the U.S. Educational system and American teachers in particular is that when we do our lesson planning, we plan for higher order thinking and creativity and critical thinking skills in our lessons about the same as other countries. But when it comes time to actually implement our teaching, that about 0% of our lessons on average allow students to develop the critical thinking skills that they need. Because as soon as kids struggle, we jump in and help them. You know, we never let them struggle, we never let them find their own way. But the things that we're talking about, where there are no parameters, you know, are difficult for kids. Like just like you said, Jed, you know, kids are saying like, well, you didn't tell me what to do. But we have to let them struggle in order for them to develop the skills they need to be successful later on. And that's something, I think, Karen, you said before, that's really uncomfortable for us as teachers, but it's just a hurdle that we've got to get over.
Another hurdle, I think, I mean, I especially see this year in my role working with so many different teachers in schools. So many teachers they're afraid of doing this kind of thing because it's not on the test at the end of the year. And unfortunately, that's a culture that has been created in our country. Even yesterday, sharing the virtual Valentine, the global collaboration there, I saw so many teachers say, yes, I want to do this. Let me check with my principal first. And that broke my heart a little bit because they wanted to make sure that it was approved so it could be connected to the curriculum. And that breaks my heart. We've got to, that's a huge hurdle that I think we have to jump first, because lots of teachers are itching to do this kind of thing because they know it's what's best for kids. But when their evaluations and their pay and those kind of things are tied to it, it makes it harder for the teachers to jump into this. And so I think that's a conversation that has to be had in order to get more people doing this.
Sadly, that is true. And I think that's one of the benefits of when we create the projects. We throw so many ideas in, so at least hopefully get those wheels starting. It's not a place that you must do one of these. Hopefully it starts to think, well, gosh, I'm working on weather. I wonder if I could make weather Valentine. We have a group of students who are fourth graders that are partnering with Maine, and they're doing a collaborative reading product, and it's over a summer camp. So their whole Valentine partnership is going to be camp-related Valentines. So it goes with those.
Yeah. So that's the job of people like Diane, you, and me, and Karen. That's our job, is to bring that to the teachers and show them that connection. Mike is a great example because he's doing that. And Micah, you as well, you're working with teachers, so we got to use people like Mike to say, hey, look at what Mike's doing. He's in the classroom. He's making those connections. And we just got to get people going.
And you know, I think all of us will agree with this statement, but you know, sometimes you just got to ask forgiveness and not permission.
Yes.
You know, that's the first thing. You know, it breaks my heart, you know, for all of the reasons you mentioned about, you know, going to your principal and asking for permission. But you know, holy geez, you know, we're professionals. You know, I got my degree hanging on my wall. You know, that says I went through 4 years of college telling me that I can make that decision about what's best for kids in my classroom.
Make that
yeah, like as teachers, you know, we need to, we need to just say, I know this is what's best for kids. And going back to the first thing that I said at the beginning of this session, you know, the matching the curriculum to the project that you want to do, that's the creativity that you have to model for your kids. You know, there's always a way to fit in the thing you want to do with the thing that you have to do. Finding that connection and being creative about it to embed that into what you're doing is really, you know, something that takes a little bit of work on your part to develop that skill of seeing those different avenues to get it in. But that's what you need to model for your kids so that they can do the same thing in their lives.
Agreed. And on that note, I think we ought to wrap it up for this one. Now, Jed, we always end our EdTech Chat and Chew with the question of the day, what did you have for lunch? So what did you have for today?
I'm embarrassed to say it. I had Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hey, you had to empty the box. That's how they came in.
That's right.
That's exactly why I did it, Diane. That's exactly why. I was looking for another piece of trash because it's hard to have 100 pieces of trash.
That's right. If you show with only 99 pieces of trash on the 100th day, you know.
Well, the teacher's supposed to collect some as well, but you know, you have to be mindful of your trash. It's got to be clean trash. It has to be appropriate trash. You know, no corks or lids or anything like that from bottles or anything like that. So I needed to make sure I had, you know, an extra piece of trash. And I wasn't really hungry. I had just run a few miles, and so I just had Honey Nut Cheerios. And it emptied the box.
And you know what? They're good. So it's all good. All right, Mike, what did you have for lunch?
I had the same thing as I had yesterday. I emptied out the refrigerator and saw whatever I could throw in a salad. So.
Good choice. Karen, what was for lunch?
I was unprepared for lunch today, so I'm going to find out pretty soon. Maybe a carton of mushrooms, since every teacher needs a carton. No, just kidding.
Micah.
I had the same thing as yesterday, too, a buffalo chicken salad.
And I've been pretty lucky. Little Smoke gets out at school at noon because he's taking college release classes, so I get to have lunch with him every day. And we had toasted English muffin with bananas and coconut chips and peanut butter. So yeah, it was very tasty
Oh,
today.
healthy. That was a good choice.
Pretty good.
I think I'm giving Micah the today. The buffalo chicken salad sounds good.
Yeah, she gets that's an award for the week. All right, friends. Well, that's all we have time for today on EdTech Chat and Chew. Said it, and I will see you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.